Here's the nuts and bolts of the deal as Griffin, Bryce Johnson, and Willie Reed head to Detroit in exchange for Tobias Harris, Avery Bradley, Boban Marjanovic, and a first and second round draft pick. Now that first round pick is protected in 2018, 19, and 20. Now, Robin, the question is why? Why did the Clips decide to trade Griffin right now, especially after they signed him to a 5-year, $171 million contract this offseason?
Well, I think they were smart because they realized the reality of their situation. You know, when Chris Paul left, Lob City was done. Their chance to contend was done. We've heard about the rumors with DeAndre Jordan. Well, I think the Clippers sat there and said, all right, we're not getting to contending status with this core. Why wait around? Let's get the rebuilding process started. In the meantime, we don't have to go right into the cellar because they got good players back in Harris and Bradley. And also, if I'm looking at it practically, you have to take Griffin's contract into consideration. You mentioned he just signed it, but he's been injury prone, including, this year having some injuries as the season's rolled along. So you don't want to be stuck into that deal going forward. I think the Clippers looked at their landscape and said, you know what, we need to get to that next era. No better time than now to start.
Yeah, they cut bait. It just seemed odd to me because they kind of hamstrung themselves in signing him to that deal, because from all reports, not many teams were interested in trading for Blake because of the contract. And it is a mega contract that Detroit is taking on here. So I don't have any issue with them moving on from Blake and kind of hitting the reset button on the franchise. I agree. When Paul was traded, that was the end of the run of the Clippers as we knew it. J.J. Redick also getting moved as well. So moving Blake is not the big deal for me. And they get back a little bit of talent, but this is clearly a rebuild because when you get Tobias Harris, who's going to be a free agent a year from now, when you get some of these guys in the trade, a guy like Avery Bradley is going to be a free agent this coming year. Who knows if those guys are even in the long-term plans of the Clippers. This seems like a Doc Rivers complete rebuild, though. We know he likes Avery Bradley. He's getting a talent that he had in Boston, a guy who can play perimeter defense. And two guys, Tobias Harris, borderline all-star. Maybe he goes and takes that next step in L.A. to become more of an elite player than he was in Detroit.